A lot of people thought that all the old movies were silent. That's not true at all. They weren't silent at all. They always had a record that went with the movie. Whenever in the old days, whenever they would play a movie, they would always have a record that would go with it. Whenever they filmed a movie, or whenever, sometimes they would do the recordings for the soundtrack that would go with the movie afterwards. But it was all on record, or around like it was either a round cone about whatever, those round records, basically the round drum records, or it was one of the flat records basically. There was a problem with the record breaking and all that other stuff, but we made them in one of two ways. And like I said, in the old days, you could buy like 60 cones or 60 round cylinders for, like, I don't know, a couple dollars or something like that. And you would get these little round circular things about yay big, or in yay tall, or something like that. And then you could play them, on one of your sound machines, which is basically just, this old thing where it was basically just a big old, what's it called, thing, and you'd wind it up. There'd be a gear inside, I mean a spring inside, and you'd wind it up, and then you go click go, and it would just sit there, and the little needle would come down and would go. Anyway, um, and we had music for like that, a band playing or whatever, and these little things were labeled as band playing sounds or whatever, sounds of blah blah blah, sounds of this, sounds of that. And for the movies, they would film the movie, blah blah blah, and then they would make the little sound effects that would go with the movie. And so, whenever people back in the 1920s and 1890s would go to see a movie, they would show the movie, and then in the corner there would be one of these big cone sound things, and they'd wind it up, and then they would time it exactly in time with the movie, and then they would go click and hit go, and it would play. And that's also probably why we also had four intermissions or three intermissions to rewind the spring and put in the next cylinder of sound, basically, because they'd have to change out the sound cylinders or something like that. It was fairly expensive, or at least a little bit labor intensive, but all movies back in the old days always had a sound record, or one of those little round things that would go with the movie, and you would pay like. And that was part of the cost of the movie, or whatever. You'd pay, and people, technicians would switch out the cones and do all the work for you and all that stuff, and also make sure that they hit the so the sound went exactly with the movie. Sometimes the sound would be a little bit off with the movie though too, depending. But yes, back in the old days, like I said, Lucifer Starline Cinema. I guess silver screen. I don't know where the silver screen came from. Maybe, well, I mean, had a lot of silver mines, and I might have had a silver screens. I don't know. I don't really remember that exactly. Like I said, I was always more busy with designing, inventing, and orchestrating, and also yelling at my people for trying to eliminate lifeboats off of a ship and stuff like that. And also dealing with how to rescue and how to launch. Like, what happens if a ship sinks in rough seas? What do you do then? How do you launch in rough seas? You don't. The boats would always get overturned or drowned. Like a little 17-footer boat in 90-foot waves. When a ship is actually taking on water and about to sink, or floundering, as they say. You can't launch little lifeboats in that kind of weather. So how to deal with that and stuff like that. So I was always busy with more important things, or stuff like the plague, Ebola, and just going over the more complicated details, and also inventing and stuff like that. So anyway, though, but yeah, I'm Lucifer Starline, and I guess if you look in the back, you might see Starline. In the records, you might see some record of Starline Cinemas and stuff that. People kept saying I went out of business, and I really didn't actually go out of business. What they actually did was, they said, because they hadn't contacted me or didn't talk to me for like 3 years or 6 years or something like that, that they assumed I was dead or something like that. So yeah. Anyway, but I'm not dead, as you can see. I'm quite live and well, and it was just when I owned America, I made myself an American citizen, Brian. Briley. So yeah, still alive so far, despite everyone trying to kill me, and the price tag on my head or whatever. So whatever. I mean, it's like, I'm the creator. I owned a colony ship. Hey, whatever. I know I shouldn't have mentioned the thing, but the price tag on my head was for my live capture, by the way. not my dead capture. So they wanted me alive. So anyway, yeah, it gets all complicated, and it's like, well, yeah. 900 trillion, 99 trillion years old, or some great amount of time old, and I've died 3 times. Abraham Lincoln tried to adopt me and tried to say that, oh, I'll be getting food, I'll be getting dressed in Gettysburg as you're dying from a disease, and there won't be any connection to me. So, yeah. Anyway, people figured that one out too. The harder one was when I got nuked, and for about 150 million years, or some amount of time, I was technically dead. So, but then I was saved once again and found. And people were wondering, well, how is he always being found? It's like, well, I built stars and planets and had recorded history and all that kind of stuff, and I'm Lucifer Starline. So I'm usually tracked throughout time and space and all that kind of stuff. My life forms usually figured it out or found me. So, yeah. So anyway, yeah, well, it's kind of complicated and all that, but not really all that complicated when you think about it. So it's like, I named America, invented the American government, chose your money. Like I said, many, 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 many years ago, they wheeled in a briefcase, a silver briefcase, I believe it was, and on the briefcase they had they had pages, and they had pages of money. Some of the bills looked like this, except it had a yellow stamp right there, and some of them, and there was one also with a swastika, too. There's also one with a swastika, and it said like Germany or something, Germany on the top or something like that, and it had some pictures and some other money and some other stuff, and they were all kind of. I think there might have been. I don't know if about the color. I think they might have all been printed or whatever. They had like 4 or 5 choices, and I picked this one. Except I wanted a blue or green stamp right there, and I think I wanted an eagle on the back or something like that. There's some options I forget as far as this and that, and and I really didn't care that much. I was just like, whatever. But yeah, okay, I pick it. Yay, there. Yeah, and because I had invented the cloth and paper, and also plastic treated. I believe this is plastic. There's a little bit of plastic on this, basically. It's been dipped in plastic a little bit to make it a little bit tougher and a little bit more durable. They did have some wax dipped money, but it didn't last very long and wasn't very good, and was kind of a little more transparent. This is actually better. And I actually spent $1 million on money, actually, making the best, most perfect money ever. So, and also guaranteed in the banks, blah, 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 blah. So, anyway, whatever. Woohoo. So, yeah. And it was just because I had to pay my workers or something, and I also had to, also, if anyone wanted to go and buy metal or materials or stuff from Starline Industries or, go on one of my ships, they had to, and I offered liberal or exchange rates also. If other people had outdated money or bad money, or money that was no longer in circulation or something, people could come to me, and my people would exchange their money for my money, basically. So like people would come to me with, or come to us with like German money or something like that, and we would do a 1-to-1 exchange rate or something like that for other people's bad money with my money. So because I was always printing money and printing lots of money, so I was like, oh, okay, I guess, all right, here we go. So people, so all these other countries that their money was no longer good or whatever, because there's a lot of other people out there, and I was just one of the biggest, printers of money and manufacturers of money. I was literally in the money making business, printing money. So yeah, I paid my workers, and I also exchanged paper money for other people's paper money. So even outdated bills and other stuff, people would come to me with Mexican money or whatever. Like, okay. So my people would exchange their bad or no longer good Mexican money because once a leader dies or once someone dies, their paper money is only good with the leader or with that person, with that organization. Once they're dead or they're gone or destroyed or whatever, then the money is no longer good. So there are lots of thousands of millions of people that basically the money was now worthless, and so I was like, well, that kind of sucks. Okay, well, I'll exchange it. That's fine. Because I'm Lucifer Starline. So I'll exchange their bad or whatever money, defunct money with my money, Yeah, it's business, so I was really cool about that and really awesome and had liberal things. So other people, that would have just been broke or would have just been having useless money. It's like, well, So that's why Mexico and other people were able to exchange their money with my money, and then my people would just go take that money or whatever, phase it out slowly, or use it back, whatever, buy stuff. I don't know. I said I don't know. I don't care. It's just like one of those things. So